National Judicial Council has dismissed 4 petitions filed against Justice Peter Lifu of the Federal High Court in Abuja regarding his rulings on political matters related to Rivers State. The allegations which accuse the judge of accepting bribes, including $1 million, a bulletproof car and a plot of land, were found to be baseless after the petitioners failed to appear and substantiate their claims before the NJC probe panel. The chairman of the All Progressives Congress APC in Rivers State, Chief Emeka Beke, is one of those who authored the petitions, according to the report. NJC probe panel finds that Honorable Justice Lifu neither exhibited personal interest in the matter or inappropriate conduct in the procedure. The body also noted that the complaints contained in the petitions are now subject of appeal by the petitioners. In the same vein, the council resolved those legal practitioners who by themselves or in collusion with litigants write frivolous petitions to blackmail the judicial officers will be reported to the Legal Practitioners Disciplinary Committee or the Legal Practitioners Privileges Committee for appropriate action. Meanwhile, NJC has set up 7 committees to investigate allegations of judicial misconduct against other judicial officers. You may recall that a few weeks ago, the National Judicial Council invited Justice Peter Lifu of the Federal High Court in Abuja and his counterpart in the Rivers State High Court, Justice Igwe, to explain themselves in respect of contradictory and conflicting court orders issued to INEC and security agencies regarding the just concluded local government's electoral area elections in Rivers State. While Justice Igwe, in a suit brought by the APP, had ordered INEC to release the voter register used for the conduct of the 2023 general elections to the Rivers State Independent Electoral Commission for the purpose of conducting local government elections slated for October 5th. Justice Lifu, on the other hand, ordered INEC not to release same register to RISEC until it has been updated. Similarly, while Igwe in the September 5 judgment ordered security agencies to provide security during the local government polls, Lifu had ordered the contrary. Now, these 2 conflicting orders had led to a near breakdown of law and order in the state before and during the elections. But with this latest developments, let's now speak with Tony Dania. He's a lawyer and political affairs analyst. Good evening to you. Thank you so much for joining us on Politics Tonight. It's always a pleasure. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Now that the NJC has made public its findings, and according to what we have, the council says these allegations were not substantiated in any form. And interestingly also, the petitioners did not appear. How do you react to this? Thank
you so much. I was in this your channel and your program when I predicted that those petitions are unfounded and are likely to be, set aside, and the judges are likely to be vindicated. Because I read the judgments in issue and I could predict this. I want to first of all commend the Chief Justice of Nigeria, the speed with which this matter was handled, the fact that it takes a lot of courage to say you want to investigate Chief Judge of a court, judges and all that, this era where politics play a lot of role. But I don't know if the Preliminary Assessment Committee of the NJC, PAC, have assessed most of these petitions, because if you look at the judgment, and if you look at the fact that it takes it, the NJC had to decide that matters are sub judice, which means they are in court. I mean, the Preliminary Assessment Committee ought to know that this matter is in court, and such matters should not be taken to the panel. It ought to end at the PAC. Having said this, on the overall, I want to commend the NJC. For the judges that were vindicated, I want to encourage them. It is most unfortunate that they have to pay these prices for being a judge, and it is highly discouraging. You are doing a good job, and you are vilified for it, instead of being commended. And then what is the punishment? Now, okay, you can recommend the lawyers that were involved in this frivolous and baseless complaints. But what about the litigant who wrote directly, that were not represented by lawyers, like the chairman of the APC in Rivers State? He wrote directly. How do you punish such persons? Because he also, originated a petition, and the petition is also baseless, and he ought to know. How do you punish such people? Just allow them to go scot-free while the lawyers are being punished? Yes, I support the punishment of my colleagues who were involved in this, but I also feel that those who didn't use lawyer to, send their petition, who wrote directly, should also suffer some kind of punishment for this. Because I know, for example, if you are doing a petition of this nature, you are supposed to file what we call affidavit of fact. And if you file affidavit of fact, and it is later discovered that what you stated in the affidavit were false, then you have committed perjury, which is a criminal offense. I think the stick should be extended to such persons.
All right, but you have just commended the CGN for finding this courage to investigate this matter. Yeah. Is this the first time NJC would be realizing that perhaps most of the cases brought before it, allegations of alleged misconduct against its judicial officers, most times are based on mere presumptions or assumptions? That's
what I'm saying, that there's what we call PAC. It's a unit of NJC. Every petition ought to go through an assessment by that committee. And then after assessing, they will now recommend that this one has some merit we can hear. So for the NJC to have given this decision, it shows that they were reviewed by the PAC, or probably they were bypassed. I commend the CJN because these are political issues. The pressure is so much. It will take a very courageous judicial personnel to take this kind of action. And with due respect for a lady, to take this kind of action in the heat of the moment and be neutral, because this decision is justice informed. So I commend her. She has done very well. It is impressive. It is fast. In the past, yes, if you make complaints, sometimes it might not see the daylight. Absolutely. Sometimes it will take so long. Sometimes you won't even hear about it. But for this to happen within 3 weeks, panel has been set up, investigation taken, report released. This is highly...
Maybe because a lot of many Nigerians are also interested in that case.
There have been a lot of controversial matters of interest, national interest, involving judicial officers that took so long. I can't recall anyone now, but the one-time Chief Justice of Nigeria that was tried was only vindicated recently after about 2 years by the Court of Appeal. You understand me? So there are matters that ought to receive this kind of prompt and effective and attention.
Speedy.
Yes. We've not seen this for some time.
All right.
But I'm not too surprised because personally I've appeared before the CJN while he was at the High Court and while he was at the Court of Appeal. We have also read his judgment at the Supreme Court, including dissenting ones. They make sense to me.
All right. In a related development also, the NJC suspended judges of High Court in Anambra and Rivers States, Justice G.C. Agume and A.O. Nwabunike of Rivers and Anambra States. They've been suspended from performing judicial functions for 1 year without pay and placed on watch list for 2 years thereafter. The council also recommended 2 heads of courts, the Chief Judge of Imo State and Grand Kadi of Yobe State, for compulsory retirement over age falsification. Yes. How embarrassing are these latest trends? I mean, we didn't hear of all of this before now.
Now, other judges that have the same skeletons in their cupboards will be very wary. The moment it is made known, and you see, this is a clear message to members of the bench that the CJN is saying, I will not take any nonsense. I will act on facts. I will not vilify any judge, but I will not hesitate to punish any hearing judge. That's what she has said with this action. This is the first, after she became the CJN, this is the first. And then the Supreme Court rules, the new Supreme Court rules 2024, came out after she became the CJN. I think she must have prepared, I'm talking of the CJN, must have prepared, if by the grace of God, if I become the CJN, I'll quickly dole out all these changes. And we are impressed. We are happy. We pray that God continue to strengthen her and give her good health.
But, as a lawyer, why is this so prevalent with state high judges? State high court judges, the issue of conflicting orders and contradictory judgments.
Well, if a judge is a human being, like in the case of the judge in Rivers State, and the Honorable Justice Lifu, the NJC found that some lawyers went to file similar suits at the State High Court before that judge. And then the lawyers refused to inform Justice Lifu that a similar suit is filed. They came back to the same court. You understand me? So it is the lawyers, my colleagues, and some litigants. And if you watch, most of these cases are political cases where political interests are there. They try to put pressure on the lawyers and the judges, and some lawyers allow it. We forgot that we are first servants at the temple of justice. And if you get it is even unprofessional to get a brief that you know is inherently wrong, and you charge and you come to court to argue such brief. It's improper. I'm very sure the disciplinary committee of the Nigerian Bar Association will do something about it. I'm also very sure that the privileges committee will do something about those who were SANs who were involved in these infractions.
But can we trace the root cause or the genesis of this embarrassing situation to how judges are appointed in this part of the world?
Well, appointment of judges, just like the appointment of other persons in other cadre, other services, have its own wrongs. I know of friends who came first in pre-promotion tests among judges. They were not even promoted. I know of friends who wrote to become a judge. A colleague, he came first under, I don't want to mention the name, in Edo State. And he was not appointed. He didn't even make the list. Look at the list of members of the Court of Appeal, justices of the Court of Appeal. You will see some nepotism there. You see the daughter or son of either retired justices or serving justices who have not even served up to 10 years as a judge, being appointed as justices of the Court of Appeal. And this is not good because some judges are actually, our judges, most of them are good. They are hardworking. So
you agree that there are thorny issues when it comes to
appointment
of judges in Nigeria?
Yes, that is a tough area. I don't know if the CJN can go into that, but if he can go into this kind of political turmoil, he might be able to go into that because it has to do with highly placed persons. These issues that the NJC just resolved, some highly placed retired justices are there. They are involved. They were not mentioning names. Yeah, so if you have interest in an issue, you follow it up. I had interest in this issue because some of these judges are, judges, we respect them. They are among the best in the country. And then we can't fold our hands and allow them, their integrity to be, brought to rubbish, like the attempt being made by these persons in respect of the Chief Judge of the Federal High Court, the Honorable Justice Lifu too, and even Justice Akokia. The judgment he gave shortly before they were all invited to the panel.
All right. But now that it's a new dispensation, what radical changes do you think must happen when it comes to appointment of judges in Nigeria?
I think everybody will be careful now. I think because we have jobbers, those whose job is, for example, you want to get a contract from the government, they know how to penetrate. You want to get an appointment, they know how to penetrate. They will be careful. Everybody would have seen that the current CJN will not tolerate this kind of bypass of due diligence, of meritorious appointment. She's not likely to allow that. So I don't know whether she will be reviewing previous appointment because there will be a lot of embarrassing repercussion.
Really?
Yes. If she decides to review the appointment of judges to the Court of Appeal, appointment of judges in various states, it will turn down a lot.
But is that possible?
Yes, it's possible. There is a judge at the Benin Division of the Federal High Court that falsifies his age. And I was surprised because I checked the background. He was doing well in UK, which means he has passion. There are some judges that have passion for the job, not necessarily because of the money. They want to make sacrifice. They want to bring in their best. So we thought he was one of them. And then we discovered that he falsified his age. And then, just like when you want to become SAN, the same thing when you want to become a judge, you must, and you are a practicing lawyer, you bring judgment that you have obtained, whether you won or you lost. So some persons compromise this process too. And they are judges. Just like SAN, some persons compromise this process too. And they are SANs.
So just like I asked before, what radical changes do you think must happen when it comes to appointment of these judges going forward?
This kind of step that the citizens have taken, it will just extend similar steps to every part of the judicial system. A step that shows that I will not compromise sanity, I will not compromise integrity, I will not compromise merit, as has been demonstrated in this recent decision of NJC. Extend it to every aspect. Review previous. The moment he comes out to say want to review appointment, he will come under so much pressure because this
to do it.
Yes, but he was able to do this one. I can imagine the kind of pressure that would have been brought to bear on the CJN in this issue. Very turbulent political issue like this, and yet the CJN was able to scale through. The NJC gave a decision in record time under her leadership. She should just pronounce it that she's going to review all appointments and come and see what will happen in the judicial system. All
right. Let's talk about other issues, because there have been this, let me call it division amongst the legal practitioners over the construction of houses for judges and justices by the Ministry of the Federal Capital Territory. Some of your colleagues have said this act is unconstitutional. Is it?
It is unconstitutional. It is most improper. Because I agree with my learned senior and friend, Falana, on this issue, that it is not only unconstitutional, it is improper. See, if we have the three arms, executive, legislature, and judiciary. Judiciary get their budget directly. So they should be able to buy themselves houses and make arrangement for payment. If you allow the executive to buy you a house, supposing there is an issue involving the executive, how will you handle it? You are likely to compromise in favor of that executive personnel. I don't know how true it is, but I heard when Femi Falana referred to the plan to purchase houses for judges by the Minister for the FCT. I don't know how true this is. I don't canvass any issue that I have not verified. But if it is true, it is most improper. It is most improper. The judges should refuse. The chief judge of every court has allocation, vote of funds in the budget for them to take care of issues like traveling, like transfers, like houses, like offices, improvement of basic infrastructure in the courts.
So for a clearer perspective, what part of the Judicial Code of Conduct negates this act?
The Constitution does not allow it. Okay. It doesn't need to state it explicitly that executive don't buy something, property for the judiciary. It doesn't need to be stated like that. But there's a separation of powers and duties. And the judiciary is the last hope of the common man. That means if for any reason, assuming without considering that it is true that the Minister of the Federal Capital Territory intends to purchase houses or properties or vehicles for judges, if it is true, tomorrow there are a lot of cases against the minister. Property has destroyed people. So they are filing cases every time. And if you file a case, it's like the governor of the state, of the Federal Capital Territory. So it's equivalent to the governor of a state. So if you file an action, it's likely to come to the Federal High Court. If it comes to the Federal High Court and he has purchased a property for a judge, you don't need to search anywhere to know that it is improper. You don't even need to be a lawyer. There is likely to be bias. I know of cases where a judge said, oh, before I became a judge, I've written an opinion about this case. I cannot take this case. Just because you have written an opinion, and that is proper. He sent the case file back to the chief judge. So it is immoral, it is illegal, it is unconstitutional, it is unfair, and it is most improper.